This week's bonus interview is perfect to kick off the week of Thanksgiving. John Wayne is famous for saying, "How you doing, pilgrim?" That wasn't John Wayne. That was me. Flawless impersonation. But this week, we have a real-life cowboy. We have Western filmmaker Bill Foster. Bill Foster has a great story, and with my wife being a teacher, he was a teacher, then an administrator, retired, and then he said, you know what? I want to try this acting, filmmaking thing. And he's been doing a great job. He's only about 4 years in, and he is crushing it. And one word to describe my conversation with Bill that you can really hear through the interview and actually feel from him is his passion for what he does, and he cares about the people that works for him. So enjoy Bill Foster. In the episode notes, all of the links to everything, his movie, his IMDb, his Facebook, just so you can keep tabs on him. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, the one that you're listening to right now, because we have a ton of other great interviews and a lot of movie sequel reviews that are really exciting. We have a lot of them that we've already done and a lot of them coming up. So without further ado, here is Bill Foster. Bill?
Hey, yeah.
How you doing?
Good. I finally made it.
All right. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. I appreciate it. So yeah, I'm fascinated. Yeah, I know we only chatted for a few minutes the other day, but before you got on the line, Steve told me a little bit about you, but I want, the listeners to be able to know, how did everything begin for you? Like, where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up, started in just outside Dallas, and we had a weekend farm out in South Wichita Falls, and we would go out there every weekend. That's where my dad was raised. And in the sixth grade, we made the big move from the city to the country. And I lived out there until I graduated and moved to college and became a teacher, a vocational agriculture teacher, and did that for 6 years, and then became a principal for 15, superintendent for 11. So I retired for 33 years in January of 2016. So that's my history before the movie stuff. I was farming and ranching and little this, little that, along beside the principal and superintendent stuff. So
wow,
always staying plenty busy.
Yeah. So over all that time until you retired, was there any point ever that you were like, I want to become an actor, writer, director?
Writer, yes. Acting and directing, no, but I had written a novel. Of course, it was the typical first novel. It had all the typical problems with it. You think it's perfect till people look at it, and it's like, oh, I understand now. I got a lot of work to do. And so I wrote some children's novels children's books, because I was an elementary principal, and I'd read them to the kids, and so then I really dove into what I really love, and that's the Western genre, and wrote 3 Western novels. I've had one of them published. I waited till after I retired to have it published, so nobody, say conflict of interest and all that kind of good stuff.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
And then I'm gonna have the second one will come out hopefully this fall. It's in its final edits right now, and so as far as the writing goes, that's where it goes, and then eventually, that's my next big project if we can find the funding to make a movie out of it.
Oh, that's awesome.
This funding isn't. My wife wouldn't let me do another movie like this one. So,
that's pretty fascinating. So, obviously you're done teaching. When people retire, most of the time when people retire, they just hang out and they just relax. They play golf.
Yeah.
No, that's great that you're keeping super active. You're writing, you're acting, you're directing, and you're doing it all. So. Mm-hmm. So how did it all begin that you actually were like, this is something that I want to dive head? Because what year did you retire? You said it was 2016?
Yeah, January 2016. And I was sitting there one night and saw an open casting call for The Son, which ended up starring Pierce Brosnan as the main character. And I got to work right beside him as a featured extra. And so, that was a lot of fun. So I started applying for more movies, as extras. And I always got a featured extra. Very seldom did I have just an extra where I just walking down the street, and just blended in. And I guess they like my ugly looks or something. I don't know, But and so being a writer, and I started writing the script, and I read an article once that said if you want to act or in really anything in the movies, you take everything you can get for a while until you get established, and whether it's paid, non-paid, anything that you can get, you take, and then you just hone your skills from there. So, I did a lot of independence myself there the first couple of years, and would sit there and while I was doing it and make mental notes like, well, I don't want to make people do this, or I'm going to do better on this, or I'd love to do this. This was a great idea here. This is not working here, and try to incorporate all that. And then when I decided to do my own movie, the script was about 30 pages long, and I had these great ambitions of filming it with an iPhone and making something really good but different, and saying, hey, look what I did with an iPhone. And what went from 3 or 4 actors and an iPhone quickly turned into a regular videographer, and now we're approaching over 200, well over 200 actors now.
Wow, that's amazing.
Everybody. And so it has grown like I can't believe. I pinch myself every once in a while just to see if it's real.
You know what? It's funny. Like, people that do things later in life and actually experience stuff, obviously you were a teacher, you were a principal, so how to work with people, even though it's on the elementary level, you're still having to deal with so many different people all within such a short day. And then when you were on these movie sets, you saw things that worked right and then things that worked wrong. So you want to make sure that, you did it right when you had the opportunity. So I'm sure that's why people want to work with you.
Well, thank you. And I was superintendent the last 8 years. I was
that's even more.
And had 150 employees and an $11 million budget to deal with. And I know in some schools that's not a lot. In some schools that is a lot. So it's kind of a smaller size school, but yet, you deal with all of that, plus, all the parents and kids and everything like that. And so organization was key when I went into the movie business. I told when we hired our videographer, or he told me it's a cinematographer, not a videographer. But when I hired my cinematographer, he's all of 21 years old, and I'll tell you about him in a second. But I told him and everybody that I worked with when we first started doing production meetings, it's going to be organized. It's not going to be chaos. It's not going to be a whole lot of sitting around. We're going to keep people informed. We're going to invite them. We're going to tell them when they're going to act and try to and work with them as much as possible. This last Saturday we filmed for 12 hours, which is a normal day, but there was more sitting around on that. But that was just because the saloon was not air conditioned, and we just couldn't get. It was 110 degrees in there, and we just couldn't put everybody in there at the same right time. And so we had to kind of cut some scenes and move some things around and just focus on smaller parts of the saloon. And so we weren't able to use as many as we thought we were. When I'm saying as many, 15 or 20 people are sitting around kind of waiting for their shot, and we'd use them as much as we could. But that was about as much sitting around as anything is done on my set. We try to keep them busy so they stay actively engaged throughout the whole day. Yeah,
and that keeps them on their toes. So, no, that's good.
Oh, and yeah.
I know it was really early footage, the trailer. I talked to Jeff Davis the other day. So I was, he had great things to say about you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And he's amazing.
He's really neat, right?
Oh, yeah. He upped everybody's game. As soon as he walked on set, everybody got better. Me included. But yeah, we did that trailer on the first weekend we ever filmed. Just 2 days of filming, we got that trailer pulled out of the footage. We're fixing to come out with another minute-long trailer or teaser, and then we're going to try to have, by November or so, have a really good minute-and-a-half trailer, another really good, longer trailer that tells more of the story, because we film more, so we can include more people in it. And we try to pace them out so to keep people excited, because we're just about wrapped on the filming. And so, now that, look on Facebook, it's just flooded with behind the scenes pictures right now. Everybody's excited from Saturday. And so we'll give it a while and get another trailer out so everybody kind of see that and see different views that other people hadn't seen yet. So
that's awesome. And it looks so cool. When I was talking to Jeff about like the town where the film sets are, and they just look so cool. And
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
I think I was talking to him about and I'll tell you, like Western, especially the way it's shot and the way everything just looks so period. it looks so cool. The gunshots, everything looks really good. So that's
Well, thank you. Yeah, there was one scene where Jeff was walking down the street, and it was just happened to be cloudy that day, and we had our foggers going, and I was doing a lot of directing because I've been on both sides of the camera, and that day I got to do a lot of directing, and I was really focusing. And when I got behind the cameras watching, I stood up and I told my cinematographer, I said, pinch me. I said, this looks just like Hell on Wheels. I said, if the whole thing turns out as good as this one scene with Jeff in it, we've got a hit on our hands. It's one of those deals like, oh wow, something just happened, And but Jeff, one of his scenes is going to be the opening monologue for the full movie. I mean, that's how much we think of his acting. I mean, it's great.
Oh, that's amazing. That's cool. You had that experience that you had like that epiphany while that was you're behind the camera and you see that and you're like, oh man, this is like, because this is your culmination. It's your vision. You wrote it, so it's got to be pretty special. Now, would you ever see yourself? I know you did a little like extra work in some of the roles that you had. Would you ever want to just? I'm sure you'd love being kind of in control because you know what to do because you've done it for so many years in a different sense. Would you ever want to be on somebody else's set, or do you like being in charge?
I'll still be on other people's sets.
Yeah.
You're always learning. And, I was on the Robert Rodriguez just the other day. And
cool.
I may have got cast for an extra for an upcoming series. And so, I still do those. I don't do many free ones anymore unless they're for friends, because I've kind of got past that point. Because, you do free ones for as long as you want to. But I'm so busy with what I'm doing and the venue that we've got put in till I just really don't have time for all of the freebies that come along. And then, but yeah, I'd be on somebody else's set. But my next one, I don't know. I want to direct it. I may act in it a little bit. I'm not going to be as much of an actor in it because I really like the directing side, but I love the acting side too. So it's kind of a 50-50 or maybe 60-40 right now. But definitely going to have more personnel and a bigger crew and a bigger budget on this next one.
That's awesome. Is that going to be the show? What is that? The Showdown in the Guadalupe?
No, we're going to look at I Heard the Quail Whistle.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's an unpublished book. That's the one that'll come out this fall.
Awesome.
And that's a neat one because I wrote a couple of novels and my wife said, you're always making the man the main protagonist. Won't you make a woman the hero, a heroine? So I said, okay. And I sat down and started thinking and started writing this novel. And I think it really came out nice. And she's my editor. She's an English teacher. And she wouldn't read it for a long time because it was kind of violent at the very first. And so she wouldn't read it until she finally got past that point, and then she's got into it. But, she didn't want to read that first part where the kids get killed. But, that was just part of her, the ladies, that becomes the hero of her background that I put in there. But once she got past that, she said it's really good. So if she gives it a thumbs up, we're good.
Happy wife, happy life.
That's right. And, we've got a couple of shorts we want to film between then and there just to show people what we can do. But, when we sit down, I'll tell you about my videographer. I met his mother first in another job I have. She was a school principal, and I mentor first-year teachers. And so I was mentoring a teacher on her campus, and she told me about her son being a cinematographer. And so I met with him, and we just really hit it off. A lot of people said, you don't need to hire a 21-year-old. But he really impressed me, and that kid is amazingly talented. But I also did it for another reason, is because, I'm 57, and I know what I like to watch, but I wanted his generation to have their likes in the movie too. So, we don't skip a generation. So hopefully it'll be a movie that 21, 25-year-old, that millennial age will like, and also the other adult group will like, and so we get a bigger audience that way. And he's really taken off. He was basically homeless when we hired him, and now he's just so busy he's having to turn down jobs because just that trailer and getting exposed by this, and it's really helped him out a lot.
That's so cool that you're able to do that. And that's cool that you think that way, because there's some people that are older and they're set in their ways, like, this is how I want to see it. But you're smart having somebody younger see it. So it's opened up to different eyes, because you don't know what, even me at the age of 32, there's things that I really like that I could probably go to a kid in high school. Like, my wife's a middle school teacher. She teaches English.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you there's kids that if I showed them a movie that I kind of like that was from like the 90s or the 80s, they probably were like, oh, this is so old looking. So it's great that you have those young eyes to offer their take and help it out.
Yeah, and my wife was a middle school English teacher also. So
okay.
I know what your wife goes through day in, day out. But
I know.
She retired in the May of 2016. But one of the stories I was going to tell is we sat down, the three of us, and we started, taking notes and talking and what we need and what was that, and looking at different ways. And I told him, I said, I know we can go out and sell the script, and hopefully someday it gets off the producer's desk, and we might, how far along is that down the road? I said, we can also make a trailer from the script, and how far would that get us? But I said, if we're going to make a trailer, this is your first feature film, my first feature film. Let's make the full movie. So that way, when the distributor asks, let me see your movie, I like your trailers, let me see your movie, we say, here it is. Now, when we first started out telling people that, they said we was crazy. You're doing it all wrong. You got to do this first, that first. And I said, well, no, this is just the way we're going to do it. And now we've gotten this far and talking to people that really know in the business, because, you start knowing a certain level of people, and then the deeper you get into the business, that level goes up, up, up. And now about 3 layers up, and they're saying, that was the smartest move we made through the whole thing. Because distributors, when they say, oh, I want to see a movie, if you guys say, well, it's going to be 2 years or a year, they say, well, let's put it on the shelf for a while. But now we can say, here it is. Would you like to see the whole thing? There's more trailers, more parts to it. And that will help sell the whole thing. So we're keeping our fingers crossed on that.
Yeah, that's a smart thing to do. I interviewed an actress, and she was in one of those shorts that were like that. And they said that same kind of story, but they didn't have the full movie. So when they were asked to, hey, do you have the full movie? They said, no, we could shoot it. It was still going to be like a short because it was a trailer going into like a short. But they couldn't get like 2 of the actors. So the whole thing was like kind of had the kibosh, because it totally changed everything when you don't have the same actors that the people fell in love with.
Oh, yeah.
So you did it the right way.
Well, thank you. And, there's that opportunity of overseas contracts, in-country contracts. I mean, it's just sales. I mean, and, I'm learning so much as we go. When we first started this, people would ask me, okay, who's this, that, and the other, and using the acronyms. I said, guys, speak English. This is my first one. I didn't go to school this. You tell me full deal. And, we've got into some real discussions on the hierarchy of ranking of names in the film industry on site. And I'm like, you know what, guys? I don't care what title you put on people. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do. You can title yourself whatever you want to be, but I could care less what your title is.
Yeah.
I need you to keep the actors in line. I need you to get the lighting. I need you to make sure everything's going right. So, so it's been a learning experience for all of us, but it has been a great run, a great adventure. And, have to enjoy the journey. That's what I say. Yeah.
Is there a lot of like where you're at in Texas? Is there a lot of like little kind of movie theaters that show Westerns that you'd be able to get it screened at?
Oh, yes. And I'm glad you brought that up, because, I thought, well, if I can't sell it, I'm going to try to get it here and maybe there. People might know me. And now people are starting to come to me and said, oh, please, would you please premiere it in our town? We guarantee you a red carpet, full theater experience. And so, there's that other avenue that if we want, and that might be something we even work with the distributor, give us still that opportunity that we can take it and show it in the theater in local, small towns, that, hey, the Saturday Night Western is here, and take some of the actors with us to sign autographs and meet with the customers. And I just want it to be an hour and a half, 2 hours of people can take their family to a movie and come out and feel like they've been entertained, and they didn't worry about what's going on back at home. They didn't worry about world progress or anything like that. They just kind of relaxed and enjoyed the movie and got away from everything. And it's a movie that kids can see too, because my grandkids are in it. And so my grandson actually makes his acting debut, never had acting class in his life. And we filmed some of his lines, and his first one's in the church. And I'm standing up on the pew watching the camera and watching him, seeing him. when he got it, he just kept nailing the lines right. I finally just made a touchdown sign and said, "That's a cut. Got it. Perfect right there."
That's got to be so cool.
It was, and he has a lot more lines, and he's kind of a comic relief in the whole movie. But it doesn't mean to be, but it just turns out that way. And so you can't have all serious in a movie. It's got to, make you laugh every once in a while too, and take you on that emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, I think you said it best, to be able to have like a whole family go to the movie and enjoy it. And also escaping with a movie that's like a period piece, you can kind of escape. If it's a movie that's set today about something that horrible happens, it's not something that you can't really escape to. That's why I love when a movie's like a period piece, the way the clothing is and the setting, everything looks so good in that trailer. So I'm sure all the footage that you've wrapped on that's going to be in the new cut is going to be awesome. Well,
thank you. And, I wrote it in the old West style of the 1950 cinematography style. If we could shoot it actually in that same color genre, I'd love to, but they just don't make that anymore.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But, the hero that doesn't want to be the hero. And later on, I found out that's Greek mythology is based on that, but I didn't do too well in that in school. But, it's the hero that doesn't want to be the hero, like John Wayne, Jimmy Stewart, and all those that portrayed those Westerns so well. And, you run in, you go in, try to save the town and maybe get the woman. Maybe there's a love set there or not. I don't, it kind of leaves that open for the imagination because, you never knew where John Wayne actually got the woman or not sometimes. There was always that, well, maybe he did, maybe he didn't kind of thought. And so we got a little of that in there but it's based on, two Texas Rangers that one of them has retired from being a Texas Ranger because outlaws killed his family. And his partner stays a Texas Ranger. And then one day his partner meets up with him and gives him a commission letter from the governor. And he said, I'm through rangering. I'm done. He said, well, you might want to read the letter. When he reads it, he realizes we're going after the same outlaws that killed his family. And so he decides to be a ranger one more time and make one more ride. And so he tells his partner, you better be ready because we're not arresting anybody. We're going to kill them all or die trying one.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So that's kind of the basis of the whole movie with a few other things thrown in there.
That's awesome. So say if that happens, that you're able to have that red carpet, would that be kind of surreal? You got to think how quick this journey's gone. It would be let's say if it happens in the spring, that'd be like about 4 years, less than 4 years. I don't know when you retired, but that you were able to go from beginning to end on something that you did. And people are sitting in the audience and enjoying it. Like if I was you, I would sit like all the way in the back just to watch people's reactions the whole time. Because I would love that.
Yeah. In fact, I wrote a play in Brownwood here close to where I'm at, performed a play.
Oh, wow.
It's the Vietnam War era, and they performed it 9 times and 9 standing ovations. And I didn't. All I did was met with the actors one or two times, and they had asked me questions, kind of what I was thinking when I wrote it, and then I did exactly what you did. We said just sit in the back of the audience and watch the people and their reactions and things of that nature, and that was very surreal to be able to do that too. So it's been a neat run on that, and even got some people talking to me about maybe trying to make that a movie. So. Got plenty of work lining up. We can find the finances for it. That's, that's the key.
So don't feel like you're the only person that does that. I've talked to a lot of actors, some famous that some not, and they do the same exact thing. Like they'll go to like that Saturday showing after the movie premiere to go check it out, and they just love to see people enjoy what they do because that's what acting and making a film. You're letting people escape and seeing them be able to escape for, like you mentioned, that hour and a half, 2 hours. It's just, it's magic.
Yeah. And just seeing them jump when they're supposed to jump, laugh when they're supposed to laugh. That's a scary thought. You write something that's supposed to be funny, and what if nobody laughs? And the first showing of the play had, it's a very, very roller coaster emotional. I mean, it goes from really high up laughing to really low down. I mean, there's hardly a dry eye when they come out of at the very end. And to hear them laugh on that first joke that I wrote in there, I was like, okay, they got it. Maybe maybe the rest of them's going to work too, So,
yeah, the sweat's dripping off your eyebrow and you could actually wipe it because it landed. That's so great.
That's right. You're sitting there going, oh no, can they do it? Can they do it? And then everybody laughs like, whew, goodness, thank goodness.
Oh, Bill, that's so awesome. Hey, you have to make sure you send me that Facebook page and any accounts that you have for the movie and yourself. And what I'll do is I'll make sure to put it in the episode notes. So anyone listening, go to the episode notes and they can follow along, because the trailer from then is that good. So I'm sure with all the new footage, people will really love to check it out.
You bet. And our IMDb page has a lot of background, and Facebook does too. People taking pictures and posting them. And, I was talking to my wife last night. We're trying to find an avenue where we can take a lot of those pictures and put them in some type of book and sell them. And, I know the people that will buy it mainly will just be the ones that's in it, but it'll give them a memory of the whole movie from start to finish, because you may only be in one scene, but here's all of a sudden pictures from all the scenes. And so hopefully we can get that put together and make a little bit of money, help pay some of the cost of what this production's cost us. But, my wife, she's one of my head PAs. I mean, she keeps things going. She's amazing. She never worked around a film in her life, and she just took off with this one. And tell you how grounded she is. We ordered shot glasses. The Old West shot glasses has our logo on it. We opened them up, and I poured us both a glass, and I told her, I said, let's toast to making $1 million. She looked at me and said, let's toast to breaking even first. So, so that the further we get into this, everybody keeps telling me that's not going to be a problem. So I'm excited about just, being able to say, hey, we did make something that people like. That was the thing. I told people when they auditioned and everything, I said, here's the deal. We're going to have fun. We're going to make a great movie, and we're going to eat, because a lot of places will give you a bag of chips and that's it, or tell you lunch break and you go find your own lunch.
Yeah.
So I've been able to keep all three of those things. That's main things to make a great movie. We're going to have fun. If it's not fun, we need to do something different. And so I think we're making a good movie, and everybody's had fun while they're on set too. So that's the main thing.
Yeah, it's good. You're making it a great experience, thinking about making those keepsake books. And hey, of course your wife is going to be good with, she was a middle school English teacher, so she can handle all different people.
That's right. That's exactly right. She's used to those.
That's awesome, Bill. Well, hey, thanks so much for taking the time. You've been great. And just hearing your story, just all the things you did. And then later on, you dove into something that was so new, so different, and it's working out for you.
Well, thank you so much. Appreciate you having me.
Wasn't Bill great? He is such an inspirational guy, and he really just loves what he does, and he loves the people that he works with. So don't forget to follow him on all the links that I put in the episode notes, and don't forget to follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. Good night.